Okay, so egg number 3. I think, yeah, I'm down to my last copy. I will need at least one duplicate of this guy. Actually, let me go ahead and do 2 because I'm going to need them. And they can stay off to the side. Got my original egg. For this one, I want a stripe. And the stripe is going to be made up of several different pieces, but the first one of these is going to be a curving line. I want to overlap, meaning I want to go considerably outside the edges on the left and right, and I'm going to make sure I end up with a shape that does that on the right and the left hand side. I'm going to go ahead and pick any other color for this just so I can see it. And again, it is a closed object. I did use curved lines because it looks more egg-like if it follows the contour. So I did use the Bezier handles to create the curved lines for this. It's a click and a drag function. The shape is going to look something along these lines when I'm done. When I'm done, I'm going to use that intersect option again to trim off the parts that hang off the edge. But I don't absolutely have to do it quite yet because I'm going to do something a little bit different than intersect this time for a reason, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to draw a couple more paths that are going to be extra thinner stripes along the lines of what I've got. And mine look nuts at the moment. I'm doing this on purpose because this is a common, oh my gosh, mine's not working moment that I get from people. It's because the lines that I just drew need to have a stroke, not a fill, but at the moment they have a fill and so they look crazy. It's not an issue. I can select both of the problem lines and flip-flop, it's a little swooshy arrow, the stroke and the fill, to turn it into a stroke, and that's what I need it to be. Now I'm going to come back up with the pen tool, I'm going to draw, and now I'm in good shape, right? Because I've got a stroke applied and not a fill. Well, yes, but I have a stroke that matches the fill that it's layered on top of. So the line is here, but I can't see it because it is, in fact, the same color as what's behind it. So I'm going to pick something else. I've just picked a different fill and not a stroke. So I have sort of compounded the problem I had before, and I had to do one extra step, but that's the elements that I need. So I have a thick stripe, which is effectively sort of a curved rectangular shape, and I have 3 thin lines that are all layered over my egg shape. I'm going to select all of those pieces, and I'm going to come up to the Pathfinder, which is, I keep turning mine off and I don't remember where it is. So back to Pathfinder. I've got Pathfinder here, and I am going to consider what are my best options. The intersect won't actually do me a whole lot of good in this particular scenario. The exclude does the exact opposite of what I need it to do. The minus front is only looking at a single object at a time, so actually the one that's going to work best for me in this scenario is called divide. The problem with divide isn't that it doesn't work. It's that sometimes you don't 100% realize what in fact it is doing for you or not doing for you. So what it did is it used the lines and the shapes that I drew to chop all this apart into a whole bunch of different sections, which is very workable, but it means I have a few pieces that I got to get rid of. So once I've divided, I've got the white arrow, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get rid of the pieces that I don't need. And now that I've done that, I have all of these different sections of the egg that are going to be terrific. So every single part of it can be a different color if I want. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to pick some colors from the polka dotted egg, because this is going to look better if the things appear to have at least some relationship to each other. So I will go through and pick some nice options. Well, yellow is the most obvious one there, but I wasn't sure it's the one I wanted. And why not pick some orange at the bottom? All right, so when I'm done, from those shapes that I had drawn previously, I now have a really interestingly stripe patterned egg that would have been very difficult to create otherwise. The one in the sample image doesn't look quite like this because, frankly, Gravit Designer won't let you use the divide function. There isn't one of those in there. and so I couldn't do it that way. I had to do it a little bit of a different approach. But I like the way this looks. I'm going to use one of my duplicate eggs, I only need one of them, to do the border around this whole thing. And it's going to be a matter of picking what color. I think I'm going to go with the blue because I don't have, either the blue or the green is kind of where I have to go for my outline for this guy. And let's see if maybe I want to go even bright. I don't think I want to go this bright, but yeah, no, that's kind of obnoxious. Definitely something a little bit more in the pastel arena, but I can intensify it to make it a little bit more rich, which is what I need it to be to work well on that border. And having done that, I will drag it into position. If you don't already anticipate the problem, you should. It's going to be behind. Oh, okay, it's not behind. I figured it would be behind everything. It's behind some of the stuff. It is twice as wide as what you're seeing, but half of the stroke is hanging outside the edge. So what I need to do to actually make this still work better is bring it to front. It will show up as a good bit thicker. And I need a little bit less yellow competition there, which makes it a little bit of a richer color. I get the nice thick stroke that coordinates with the rest of them. I have all my different stripes. I can select the whole thing, meaning that one egg. I'm going to group it, which is also object group. And I now have 3 differently colored eggs with different patterns, which was the requirement for this particular assignment. All right, so now what? Do one last thing and then I'm going to stop this particular video. You're going to arrange these guys ultimately at the bottom of the page, screen, however you want to think of it, and you're going to angle them a little bit. They're probably a tiny bit large at the moment, but you could go ahead and sort of get them down there. The center one doesn't have to angle, but the left and, okay, I just did a speed scroll because I angled too much too fast. But they're going to look a little bit better if you angle them outward, and for that, obviously, it's just click on it, go to the corner, turns into the curvy arrow, and you can rotate into whatever position you want. If you don't like the stacking order, you can do the object arrange function to put whatever egg in front of whatever other egg you want it to go. But I'm okay with this, and if you need to scale it a little bit, you can. The easiest way to scale is going to be to select all of them, go to the corner, hold your shift key down, and scale them as a group. They haven't actually been grouped, although you can. So I'm going to take all of them and bring them into a single group together. And then I can move them around and scale them more if I need to. Definitely save if you haven't already done so, because you've got all 3 of your eggs and the rest of this is the rabbit ears and the text.